Hello, Andrew here again. I'm trying out a different mic today just to see how it works. So if there's any problem with it, please let me know. So I'm a little bit excited about this one today because I finally finished that rail grid I've been working on for the past, I don't know, year or so. It's pretty much one of the first projects that I started when I started playing Minecraft, and I finally have a grid with all 64 stations done. So what this is, if you've seen my earlier video on the rail grid, that was a very basic version of this. But this is a grid of minecart stations 8 by 8, so 64 stations in total. And the way this works is you have a 8-digit keypad here, and each number represents a coordinate in the grid. So there are 2 digits to each station code. As you can see here, we are at station 32, which is orange-red. So the way the keypad works is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 on top, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7 on bottom. So if I wanted to enter station 32, I would just hit orange, red. And this uses the little shift register design I showed with the analog shift register, so I can hit the buttons as fast as I like, and it will always get both of them. So this is the main component of the whole system, this track switch. And the way this works is every cart that comes in gets put into a clockwise loop, and the tracks switch based on the selection you gave it in the keypad. Now right now I hit 32, which is where we are, so the track switch is right here, clockwise loop, so it goes right up here. Each station has the same setup here, the only difference is the reference for the track switch. So it uses the signal strength to tell if the destination is higher or lower than where you already are. This is a pretty nice track switch. The way the arrivals work, if the cart gets bounced for some reason, like a big man or something, it'll get caught on the slab. And if somebody is following you, they'll get bumped back into the clockwise loop and keep bouncing back into the loop until you clear. So it's a very useful thing just for the arrivals there. And it doesn't even pay attention to which way you come from, all it cares is which way you want to go. So just the carts here are all done automatically. The dispenser here puts a cart in when you leave, and this hopper here picks them up when you arrive. There's a chain of hoppers going over the roof to bring them back to the dispenser here. So if I just get in the cart here, it launches me automatically because of the pressure plate here, and the cart is half on the rail, half over the plate, so it works quite nicely. And you never have to do any punching or placing carts, you never have to have a cart on the even. So this is also a very nice use for the map grid. For each station on the grid, it's 128 blocks between them, and the nether, which turns out to be 1024 meters. And the overworld, which is exactly the same size as a level 3 map. So if I put a center a map on each station, then there will be no gaps between the maps. That's what the portal here is for and all that. So the light on the left tells you when there's an incoming signal, either from the keypad or an incoming cart sending a signal. And the light on the right comes on when the carts are getting low. So I'm just going to make a quick trip over to say 22. That's right next door. So if you look at the track switches now, if you follow it in a clockwise loop, it's routing all carts in that direction, which is towards 22, because the colors in the floor actually correspond to the coordinates in the grid as well. The horizontal one, up, down, is the first digit, and, oh my bad, the vertical one, and the horizontal one is the second digit. So we got orange, red. Look at the keypad, you got orange, red, which is 3, 2. So that's one way to keep track of where you are. And also the lights in the floor will change based on the state of the track switch. So just gonna get in the cart really quick here, and it'll send us on our way to station 22. Now it's a pretty smooth ride, I'd say. The cactus breaks the cart without hurting you, but because I kind of like having the end chest on top of the cactus, you can still get hurt if you walk right into it. You pretty much have to be trying to get hurt. So the wiring behind this is actually not that bad, and a lot of it is just to cut down on the lag, because if you really wanted to, you could send the signal out in all 4 directions every time a cart leaves. But I've decided to put in a bunch of circuits to check which way the cart went. That's what these sets of 2 detector rails are. It detects which direction the cart is going in. So if the cart is going out, it activates the first one and then the second one. But if the cart is coming in, it activates the second one and then the first one. So it's pretty much a pulse limiter, where the second detector rail here disables the pulse limiter if it gets hit before the first one. So I am going to do a tutorial on all the components of this, but this is just to give you a quick idea. So you have the keypad input here, just like in the shift register video. It's got the clock here, note block, and going to the light here. And this is just one of the inputs from the other station. But we've got the memory right down here. And yeah, it's a lot easier to recognize in my color-coded version on my creative server. So I'll be using that for the tutorial. This is just a quick preview of it. And let's see, right here, this is the track switch I was talking about. Well, actually the direction detector. So the first detector rail is over this block, and the other one is over this block. So if this one gets activated first, this torch comes off and lets this torch put out a quick pulse. And this repeater right here is on 4 ticks, so the detector will also power this repeater, making sure this torch is only on for 2 ticks. That's long enough to activate this memory here, which just flips on the comparator so that the signal can get through. When this memory is toggled, this comparator won't be disabled anymore and the signal will get forwarded in that direction. But what happens if the rail is switched before, if you hit the other one first, you get a bit... Okay, if the other one gets triggered first, then the repeater gets powered before the torch, and this torch will never come on. So that's the basic idea of how all this works. And here's the track switch I was talking about. I used furnaces for the reference on the signal strength, and if it is equal, it'll power one piece of dust but not the next one, and from there it's pretty basic logic gates to control all the rails above. Definitely going to break this down a little better in the tutorial, but the basic ideas are really the hardest part about this one. Yeah, I gotta be careful with my crazy pick here. Took out a little more than I wanted to. So, if you really wanted to, all of this outside on the edges here isn't really needed. All of the only necessary components are the track switch, keypad, and memory. It's a little hard to get around in. So you just have all four sides with one of these direction detectors, memory cell, and comparators going all over the place because it uses the signal strength for the coordinates rather than relying on binary. And that means when it sends the signal onto the next station, it doesn't actually need all that precise timing because it's only sending 2 pulses. And instead of relying on a trigger pulse, it's relying on the signal strength. And even 0 on the keypad has a signal strength higher than 0. So since I only have 8 digits to worry about and 15 signal strengths to work with, I'll get a little bit more slack there. So pretty simple on the wiring. If you know anything about comparators, you could probably adapt it to whatever needs you have. This could fairly easily be adjusted to a linear rail system with branches going off to the sides rather than a grid. I just like the grid the best because if you are trying to get in to a place based on the coordinates, each digit on the keypad corresponds to the coordinates. So it's very easy to get around in. As soon as you know how it works, it's a lot easier, and I have the tunnels high enough here so you can bring a horse in or whatever you gotta do. So I'm just gonna make a quick trip back to 32 here. A little bit of lag. And the nice thing about this kind of a design is that it sends the carts in a clockwise direction through the track switch. So if your destination is both up and to the right, both of the rails will switch. So one example station would be 41. That's exactly one diagonal. It will switch both this rail to go up and this rail to go to the right. And since it's going in the clockwise direction, it'll go up and then right. Now, it doesn't seem like too much, but it actually helps quite a lot if you consider when it's coming back in the other direction. If you want to come from up there and go diagonal 1 down that way, which would be station 23. You have this rail switched as well as this rail switched. But since it's going in a clockwise direction, it'll go down and then right. So basically it makes a square. When you're going up there, you go up and then right, and when you're coming back, you go down and then left. And that helps cut back on the collisions quite a lot, because as long as your destination isn't in the same line that you're already in, you'll be taking a different path to get there than you will to get back. Now this is very tolerant on spacing. If you have somebody following you, they can get in the cart the very second that the next cart pops up as you leave. If you can watch as it comes in, it has a delay. Yeah, I actually hit 23, so we'll go over there, but the cart will not come out until the pressure plate is deactivated, because it's inverted. So I selected 23, so we went down one and then over one. It does a pretty good job at keeping you on separate rails for different directions. So here we are, station 23. Can go through the portal, but I haven't actually gone through all of them yet because I'm waiting for 1.7 to get too heavy on the maps again. So I think this is a very nice station design. I'm definitely going to go into more detail in the tutorial, but if you actually have tried to do anything with the rail stations, you probably had a lot of experience with how buggy the minecarts seem to be with redstone timing. Just getting the direction detector to work right, I could make it fit with them right next to each other, but it's not very reliable. Just by adding the space between the detector rails, I managed to get it to be pretty much 100% reliable, because the minecart's not going to move 2 blocks in one redstone tick. So the detector rails will definitely be activated at separate times. So I know I haven't been doing really that many videos lately, but really I'm just recording whenever I get something that I think is worth sharing. I'm not really too interested in doing a let's play or anything along those lines, because normally when I'm just messing around on the server I don't have anything good to show. If there's enough interest in it I might give it a shot, but as it is, it's just going to be every few weeks whenever I get done with a big project like this one. So hopefully that's not going to bother anyone too much, but if I'm not recording, if I don't enjoy what I'm recording, it's probably not going to be enjoyable for anyone involved. So yeah, I guess I'll have to get to work on that tutorial, because this is a very big one, but as you saw with the wiring, it's actually not that unreasonable. So each station uses about 400 pieces of dust, which is a really big improvement from my last design. I'm going to get back to 32 here, but I managed to build all 64 of them here, but this has been probably the 30th version of the stations I've been through. Just got a nice view here, and I actually built this just under 110 on the Y, so that you get these nice little areas that come out into the open like this. It does pose a little bit of a problem with the ghasts, so if it went any lower, you wouldn't be able to have these open doors here. But the way it is right now, any of the lower spots just get the bars on the side. That's nice, because if you're riding a horse, it won't go over them unless you jump, and the ghasts won't be able to shoot in unless you're pretty much dragging them right into the station. So I haven't had any trouble with the quartz yet, and for everything else that's easier to get at, it's the bricks and the clay, which are both blast proof. Hopefully if you're interested enough to watch all of this, you can leave me a comment, any suggestions or anything along those lines, because it really does help me a lot with getting ideas, because I've done as much as I can even think of on this station, but it's a pretty good chance I might have missed something. So just a quick update, I am still doing videos, I'm just not doing them all that frequently, because I tend to go a little bit relaxed at my projects, so I'm not going at them too rigorously. So thanks for watching.